Hello and welcome to Peggy's Plants, coming to you from Central Florida. Today I'd like to share with you the Dracaena Marginata. The Dracaena family encompasses over 120 different species, but the Marginata is the most common. It can be found in most nurseries and big box garden centers. A few reasons why I think this plant is so common among plant people is it's inexpensive and easy to find, it's easy to care for, easy to propagate, and it brings a tropical vibe to any plant collection or garden. It starts out looking like a little palm tree, but can grow large and end up looking like something that comes from a Dr. Seuss story. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to share with you a propagation. This is my garden in the Florida Keys. And what I'm about to show you is my Dracaena Marginata that I started from a propagation, from a single propagation, okay? Yes, this plant not only now stands over 20 feet tall, but has a tree-like trunk, and to me looks like something straight from Dr. Seuss. It's planted directly in the soil. It receives direct, harsh South Florida sun, and I don't fertilize this plant at all. And it is watered by drip irrigation 3 times a week with water straight from the faucet, so no special treatment or anything like that. I have never fertilized this plant, but as you can see, it's thriving. Of course, it is really enjoying the warm weather. So if you're going to grow this plant indoors, you need to kind of try to mimic the conditions. Now, these are more propagations that I'm growing in the back of my garden, and I'm actually going to take some cuttings from these because I want to have some Dracaena Marginata at my house in Central Florida. So rather than buy more, these are so easy to propagate that I'm just going to go ahead and take some cuttings, and I'm going to show you step by step exactly what I do and how it turns out. These two Dracaena are actually plants that I propagated about 4.5 months ago, and they're growing very well. They're well rooted, so they're already established, and so I feel totally comfortable propagating these. They'll do just fine after the cutting. As you see, this one is a little leggy, so I'm going to cut right here in the middle, and this way when it roots I'll have a nice tall plant from the start. So nothing special, just have my shears go in, make a nice clean cut. This one's ready to propagate. Now this one's growing a little wonky. It's doing well. As you see, it has plenty of leaves all over it, but it has a little curvature at the bottom. So I am going to cut this plant right at the curvature. And there we have it, propagation number 2 ready to go. I'm not going to dig up the remaining stems or anything like that. I'm going to leave them just as they are. I'm not going to do anything to them. Just leave them here. They will actually start sprouting new stems that will grow leaves on them. These plants will thrive and do just fine. If you recall earlier when I was showing you my tall Dracaena in the garden, how you saw a couple of them had kind of branched off, and instead of having one head, they now have 2. That is how this happens. It's when you cut them off to propagate, they start a whole new stem. It branches off into a whole new stem. So it'll end up a 2-headed plant. So here are the cuttings. I found another one in there that I decided to take a cutting from. So now instead of 2, I have 3. And I'm not going to do anything special to these other than I did remove some of the leaves. A lot of times you'll see people totally strip the leaves off. You can do that if you want. It doesn't make any difference. But then I just took these and stuck them down into some potting soil. I didn't add anything. I didn't do rooting hormone, nothing special at all, no additives to the soil. I just took some regular potting soil that I had on hand, put them in these nursery pots, and stuck them straight down in there. If your pot becomes top heavy, you can do like I did and put some rocks on the top to help it to be stable. But that's all that I did. And then I took the whole pot, stuck it right back over here where I had, where I took the original cuttings. So it's in the same place it was before. They'll get watered with the little drip irrigation 3 times a week. And other than that, I'm going to do nothing at all but leave them alone. Okay, 2 months have passed since I took the cuttings from the Dracaena Marginata. Here's what they're looking like today. As you will notice, they have a lot fewer leaves on them, but the leaves that are on them are standing out, so it's pretty safe to say there's probably some roots there. This one has decided to grow sideways for whatever reason. Hey, self-expression, whatever. And if you look, there's another stem starting on this one. And it's branching out, which is what the original stems are probably doing. But I'm not at the other house, so I couldn't take a picture of that for you. But with the way these leaves are, standing upright and everything, it's really safe to assume that these plants have rooted and are doing well. Now, without digging up these plants, I'm able to see that they are rooted by trying to pull them out of the pot. Now, I'm giving them a really good tug, and they're in there, so they're definitely rooted. I don't want to dig all of them up, but I will sacrifice and dig out one of these marginatas. I'm not really ready to plant them in the yard yet, but what a great way to start new plants, you could take these and cut them into several pieces and have several cuttings, and they will all grow just the same. It doesn't just have to be the top piece. And in fact, I'm thinking I may even propagate these. Take a top cutting, stick them down in the soil, and eventually when I'm ready to put these out in the yard where they're going to be, I should have several Dracaena. And look what we have here. This is a lot of roots. This is a very nice root system, and it grew very quickly, so I'm quite surprised at the number of roots it has. But as you can see, the plant looks pretty healthy. It's a little lopsided the way the leaves are because it's been really windy, which also encourages deep rooting so that the plant is well anchored. But I am very, very happy with the roots that this plant has grown. And that's it. That's all you have to do to propagate your Dracaena Marginata. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.